everybody, Lord Tremendous here, and welcome to Battle Report number 52. This will be my final version 1.1 T9A Battle Report. That's right. The next Battle Report I post will be with version 1.2! I'm looking forward to it. It's a little confusing, it's going to work a little wonky, but damn it, we're going to figure it out, we're going to have a good time, and I'm going to do Battle Report, and yay! But anyway, this battle report, the final battle report of version 1.1, number 42, 'tis I, Lord Tremendous of the Ogre Khans, versus Cannon of Doom of the Empire of Sunstal. Yeah, you guys, I could give you some sort of spoiler. I could tell you what's gonna happen. I could tell you a lot of things, but you know what? Just sit back, relax, and get ready to see how this one goes. Here's my list, and there has been zero change from the last list because honestly, I knew version 1.2 was coming out and there was no reason to change it whatsoever. I mean, really, what was the point? I knew what was coming. Anyway, I have my great shaman, Skaven and AZ. He's my general. He's a level 4 wizard. He's got the demonic heart and the path of butchery. Nothing more, nothing less. Next up, I have my hero choices, and I started off with none other than my Khan. He's my BSB. He's got the Sword of Strength, he's got the Mithril Mail, and the Talisman of Lesser Shielding. Nothing more, nothing less. Next we have my Mammoth Hunter, Lord Tremendous. He's got the Hunting Spear, the Flaming Lance, the Lucky Shield, the Charm of Cursed Iron, and he is on the Rock Elf Eater. And I'm really, really starting to enjoy this model. Or, well, this unit anyway. And then, of course, I have my second Mammoth Hunter with an Ogre Crossbow, Razor Blade, Hardened Shield, the Rock's Charm, however you want to say it, Talisman of Greater Shielding, Headhunter, and he's on his Tusker, the War Teddy. I've got my core choices now. I got a unit of 12 Tribesmen, the good old boys. They've got a full command and Iron Fists. I've got a second unit of 5 Tribesmen, Spazzes, with Banner, Musician, Iron Fist, and the Banner of Discipline. And then I've got a unit of 15 Scraplings, the Cheapskates, with Banner and Short Bows. Starting off my special choices, I've got a Saber-Toothed Tiger, Bow Wowzer. I've got a unit of 5 Scrapling Trappers, my favored pets. And then I've got a unit of 5 Mercenary Veterans, the Corpulent Bastards. They've got a Banner, Musician, Iron Fists, Lethal Strike, Bodyguard, and they have the War Standard, because I was running out of points. For my rare choices, I start off with the Thunder Cannon of Doom! And then I've got the monster, the myth, the legend, my Frost Mammoth, Rufus! He's got a couple of Ogre Crossbows, but man, he is the star of the show. Well, that's going to do it for my list. I'm going to post my opponent's list, play some music. Feel free to pause it whenever you want in order to see what he took. Here are my spells, which are, well, the last time you will ever look at these particular spells. And here's deployment. Okay, so I got the post first, and I just did. You know me. If I get the post first, I just throw everything down. And I did. From left to right, I've got my hunter on a tusker on the hill there, because I figured if he had some sort of fast calf, he'd send him after my cannon. He knows how dangerous my cannon is. My opponent's not stupid. He's going to go after the cannon. So I put my hunter on a tusker over there to deal with whatever chaff he threw that way. My scraplings were there for the same reason. Rufus was there because I just wanted him to be as close to the 12-man unit of tribesmen as possible. I've got Lord Tremendous right next to my tribesmen and my mercenary veterans, my BSB. Behind them is Skaz and his Spazzes. Skaz and his Spazzes are not for close combat unless that combat is so skewed in my favor that I feel comfortable throwing him in there, because Skaz has a tendency of letting me down and dying. What can you do? I've got Bow Wowzer on the right there. He's going to try to chaff up those knights if he doesn't just flat out die. And then, of course, my cannon on the hill there is going to try to take out his war machines as quickly as possible. That's it for deployment. For my side of deployment, my opponent, as you can see on the left flank there, has got his rioters. Up top there is a unit of halberdiers with his BSB. Next to them is a swordsman unit. I don't believe there's anything in that unit. He's got a volley gun right there. On the hill, he's got some handgunners. Behind them is a cannon. In front of the handgunners is a unit of state militia, skirmishing ones. The big brick you see behind them are the Imperial Guard with his general, and I think his demon hunter is in there. Right next to them is his swordsman unit, and of course, at the very far right side there are his Knightly Order, that's what they're called. And yeah, that's it for deployment. So here's top of one after movement, and yes, I did get to go first. Everything flew forward as far as it possibly could, for the most part. With the exception of my hunter on a tusker, he charged a unit of riders who stood and shot, and I made the charge. They did nothing to him because he's too much of a badass. So, made my charge, top of one, very exciting. My scraplings moved up a full 8 inches. Rufus moved up 6 so he could shoot. My trappers moved up a full 8 inches to kind of get out of the way and kind of chaff, kind of redirect if possible. My big unit, my horde brick, I guess. It's not really horde brick, but you get my point. Of tribesmen, they moved up. I got to get them into combat before the shooting takes them all out. And that, as you can see, that was the idea of this army. I had a lot of high point value targets for my opponent to shoot at, so it was hard for him to really pick a juicy target. That was the hope anyway. You'll see what happens. Obviously, I move Lord Tremendous up a full 14 right in front of the skirmishers. If they charge me, that's fine. I could always use free food. The Merc Vets follow right behind him, with Skaz not just right behind them. I leave the dog behind the ruins there on the right because I don't know where his knights are going to go, and I don't want them to just charge the dog. If they want to charge to the ruins, that's fine, but I want them to, to kind of commit so I can block them with the dog and keep them occupied for at least a turn, you know what I mean? Other than that, that's it for movement. So yeah, here's a better picture of my hunter on the tusker charging. As you can also see from the movement phase, I have adopted a new strategy of being very aggressive. I learned from my last game that being passive aggressive ends up getting you tabled. So now I'm just throwing my guys forward and trying to get into combat and do as much damage as possible, and consequences be damned. You'll see how that works out for me. Nothing really happens in the magic phase, so we go into shooting phase, and my cannon fires at the organ gun, hits, wounds, and does 4 wounds to the organ gun, exploding at top of turn 1. Oh, how I played before I had a cannon is beyond me. I absolutely love that thing. The surrounding panic checks were all passed. I don't care. The volley gun is dead, and so I feel like I've won the game. Then, I'm not sure if it's Rufus or the trappers or a combination of the two, but we shoot at the handgunners and get 2 of them, I think. Which, hey, 2 less handgunners is better than a full brick, right? And then we go into combat, and needless to say, the hunter and the tusker are able to just murderate all but one of the riders, He panics, he flees. I resist to turn and phase because I need to get this guy into combat, not chasing down one measly piece of chaff. If this thing wants to run over and shoot at my cannon for the rest of the game, so be it. But it's got to rally first on like a 4. Good luck, buddy. So after a very productive top of 1, here's bottom of 1 after movement. And you're looking at it. The rider does not rally. He ends up going like 11 inches and goes off the table. So that worked out. His skirmishers come up to kind of form a U-shape type of deal in front of Lord Tremendous and the Merkvats, which I'm actually fine with. Nothing else really moved up on the left flank. On the right, though, his general's unit moved up slightly, the swordsman unit moved into a position to countercharge, and his knight unit moved to countercharge as well, which is fine. I think my opponent forgot about my saber-tooth tiger, Bow Wowser, and that's why he moved his knights like that. That or he's planning on shooting him and killing him, I'm not really sure. Didn't care. I knew exactly where the dog was going to go next turn. But that's really it for movement. Literally nothing happens in the magic phase. I believe he rolled like a 3-die magic phase, and I channeled. So I got 3, he got 3. He did not channel. He rolled, and he rolled like 3 1s. His dice were literally proposing to me in this phase, in this turn, which I thought was nice of them. But yeah, not the best dice rolling for my opponent, unfortunately. In shooting, I think he slips a wound through on Lord Tremendous, and that's really it. I mean, just some real bad shooting, unfortunately. But that pretty much sums up bottom of 1. So here's top of 2 after movement. And yeah, as you can see, there's a couple of wounds on the Merkvats, there's a couple of wounds on Lord Tremendous. That's really it. So in my turn, I put the Hunter on a Tusker all the way up on the left flank there to threaten his Halberdier unit and the Swordsman unit. Not that I have any intention of really charging in there unless I have to or he gives me a rear. I just did that so that he had to worry about turning his flank or his rear to him. I have zero intention of going after him. The Hunter's target is those damn handgunners. That's his job. So if he can threaten those units and keep them there long enough for them to just be completely out of this fight, that would be perfect. That would be a bonus. Rufus and the big unit of tribesmen move up to threaten those units on the left flank. My trappers move up to throw stuff at the swordsmen or at the handgunners. Probably the handgunners if I'm smart. And also, if he charges them, they're going to flee. If he charges my big unit of tribesmen, that's perfectly fine. I'm pretty sure they can take either of those units. Not 100%, but if it's just one of those units, I think they have a real good chance. That's the hope anyway. What's his fate? Lord Tremendous and the Merkvats charge the skirmishing unit. The Merkvats went in first, so they aligned to the Merkvats the best they could, or to the unit or the skirmisher all the way to the right, and that's why we're at that angle. The full intent here is to kill the skirmishers and overrun into his general's unit. With impact hits alone, I should win this combat. I know they're going to be stubborn. I know they're going to have a lot of fight in them, but I'm hoping with just these are my 2 combat bricks. Well, my Merkvats, my BSB, and Lord Tremendous on a Rock. If they can't break the Imperial Guard unit, then I have to go back to formula. So that's my hope there. I know I'm going to get charged by the swordsman in his next turn, but so be it. I think I can handle this. I hope I can handle this. Meanwhile, Bow Wowser moves over to get in the way of the knights so they can't countercharge me, and the Skaz and his Spazzes move in such a way that they can fire magic missiles at the knights, just to lower their threat. Meanwhile, my cannon turns to look at the knights to try to pop a few of them, because maybe, just maybe, I can force the panic check. That was really it. There's a better picture of Lord Tremendous and the Merkvats and the BSB slamming into those skirmishers, and yeah, they're dead, and you can see the overrun's going to be gorgeous. Nothing happens in magic or shooting, so we go straight into combat, and as you can see, I demolish the skirmishers, no problem, and slam into his general's unit with both units. So that is going to be a hell of a combat next turn. Looking forward to seeing how this works out. In the shooting phase, I guess I did take out another handgunner, but I mean, that's really unimportant. But yeah, combat went my way, and I'm really crossing my fingers to see how this next combat goes. So here's bottom of 2 after movement, and so far everything's turning up tremendous. His unit of swordsmen charged my trappers, who fled. They fled right through the tribesmen. I don't believe he tried to redirect into my tribesmen. Probably smart. And instead just went after the trappers. Failed. I think he ended up moving like 5 or 6 inches towards them, which puts them in beautiful countercharge range for my tribesmen and Rufus. So although I was toying with sending Rufus into the beautiful flank that is the halberdier unit over there, I thought that might be fun. As you can see, his halberdier unit turns to face the hunter on a tusker, and I'm perfectly fine with that. And on the right side there, his swordsmen charge into the mercvets, and there was nothing I could do to stop that, so what can you do? And then his knights, totally screwed, and they know it, have no choice but to slam into Bow Wowser, which, yes, Bow Wowser is a corpse, but he's keeping those knights completely chaffed and worth every point of those 40 points I paid for him. That's it for movement. There's a better picture of my opponent's charges, the swordsman entering the combat with the mercvets and Lord Tremendous, as well as his knights getting ready to just eviscerate Bow Wowser. And there's a better picture of my trappers fleeing and his swordsman failing a charge. During the magic phase, I think it gets like Devouring Darkness or something like that off on the tribesman. There was nothing I could do. I tried to stop it. And it goes off and it lands beautifully into my tribesman, and it hits a whole bunch of them. But in the end, I think I ended up only failing 3 initiative checks, which basically it's D3 plus 1 or something, or D3 plus 2 wounds each, or whatever the multiple wounds is. So yeah, it's an ogre popper. And he did. I failed 3 initiative checks, so 3 of them died. I take the panic check, and they pass, so all is good. It wasn't the greatest thing in the world, but that's the risk I take when I put 12 friggin' tribesmen into 1 unit. During a shooting phase, cannon takes aim at Rufus, fires, and misfires 4. My opponent cannot shoot this turn or next with his cannon. So, again, his dice are literally proposing to me during this game, and I haven't made up my mind yet, but they're treating me so well, I might just accept their offer. I don't know. Next up, his handgunners take careful aim at the tribesman and plank off the guy who was straggling behind, leaving me with 8, one of which is carrying 2 wounds. Not enough for a panic, but they are down to 2/3 strength now, so I'm hoping they can hit that unit of swordsmen and bounce through and maybe hit the unit of halberdiers in the flank. That might be good. I don't know. A lot of options. A lot of options still. 8 tribesmen is still very dangerous. So we go into combat, and it's absolutely brutal. My BSB ends up in a challenge with his Demon Hunter, and he ends up killing my BSB no problem, because they do D3 wounds. So my BSB dies in a challenge. He also had the Locket of Suna, which is the identity theft item. Completely killed him, but with impact hits, regular attacks, and just the raw amount of attacks, as you can see, the Imperial Guard unit is beaten within an inch of its life. I think there's 6 or 7 Imperial Guard left, and his general. Well, no, there's like 5 or 6 Imperial Guard, his Demon Hunter, and his general. I only do a wound or 2 to his swordsman unit, because I only throw 1 guy into him. And in return, I think they kill 1 mercvet. That's it. I win this combat, but they're steadfast and stubborn, and his general's unit breaks. Lord Tremendous on his Rock is frenzied, has no choice but to pursue, and he does, and he catches them no problem. Pursues into the handgunner unit, slams into them, and it's all over but the crying at this point. I do begin adjusting my mercvets over to get more into combat with the swordsman now that I've won this combat. However, here's where my opponent just calls it. I mean, there's just no fight left in him. I dropped his volley gun. I dropped his general's unit. His BSB's unit is way out of position. I'm going to hit his swordsman, overrun into his halberdier unit with the 8 tribesmen I have left, possibly even with Rufus. It's all bad. So he sees where it's going, and he just calls it right there. So when in my club, when you call it, it's just everything of yours spontaneously dies, and it's a a tremendous victory for the other person. So there's the end of the game, guys. As you can see, I went out of version 1.1 with a bang. From being tabled to tabling. Lord Tremendous under Rock, I'm starting to figure him out. All in all, though, this was an excellent game, and we'll get to the recap right away because this game is over.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
Well, as you saw, this was a definite victory for Lord Tremendous. My opponent surrendered at the top of turn 3. All in all, the only model that I lost was Khan, and that was in the challenge against his Demon Hunter with the D3 wounds. Everything else I had survived, so really good game for the Ogres. Well, I don't know if I just got lucky or if my super aggression strategy equaling a super victory seemed to work. I would like to try it again, but I don't know what list I'm going to play in version 1.2, so we'll see. Lord Tremendous and the Rock finally clicked in my head, and as you saw, I used him to great effect. Not only that, but Skaz survived. How in the hell did I pull that off? But to be perfectly honest with you, killing that organ gun, volley gun, I apologize, top of turn 1 with my cannon was worth every single point I could pay for that cannon. Destroying the damn volley gun saved my life, and I was very pleased when I saw it happen. Following that up a turn later with the Imperial Guard breaking while they were stubborn with the General right there, sealed the victory. And I don't fault my opponent for quitting at that point, because honestly he didn't really have many more moves to make, and not everybody likes to sit through a tabling. What can you do? Also, my opponent had some terrible rolls. I am not exaggerating when I tell you this guy's dice literally, I mean, short of buying me jewelry, they did all they could to help me win. His cannon misfiring is just another example of his dice helping me out. Literally everything came up tremendous in this game. This was still an excellent game, and I believe it was an excellent send-off for version 1.1. I'll never play this game again, in this way anyway. This version of the game. I will be playing the 9th Age, for damn sure. Love this game. This is still an excellent opponent, just had some really bad luck. I mean, really bad luck. Definitely looking forward to our rematch in version 1.2. We are currently looking at the new books and rules and trying to figure out new lists, and I hope that everyone will be pleasantly surprised with what comes out, but the next battle report I have will be version 1.2, and it's very exciting. So, real quick, before we go any further, I just want to take a moment to say thank you to everybody that donates to me through PayPal and Patreon and everything. I really appreciate it, guys. I wish all of you would allow me to thank you properly on my battle reports. Not all of them do, and I have to respect that. These are the individuals that allow me to thank them properly on my battle reports. Alex of the Vale Renegades, South Florida's Gamermancy team, Daniel Jolson, and Q Choi? God, I hope I'm saying that right, man. I'm sorry if I'm not. Correct me in the comments. But yes, all of you guys, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it, and I really do hope that I continue to be worthy of your donations. But yeah, guys, that's going to do it for this one. Battle Report number 42, officially in the books. I know, this is an exceedingly short game for me, but I promise you the next one will probably be like an hour and a half long. So, see, I'll make up the time. I'll make up the difference. I'm long-winded. I don't even care. As always, though, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, feel free to put them in the comment section below, and I will get back to you as quick as I can. But yeah, guys, thanks.